So over to Tony. So welcome up, Tony.
Got my support team here. Excellent. Okay. Excellent. Thank you for that rousing welcome. And isn't it great to see people interacting and getting the results for David that he was hoping to achieve, which is everyone connecting, meeting up for coffees and sharing their skills and expertise and around the group. So that's a big congratulations to all of you for doing that. Keep it going. So what I'd like to get through today very briefly is to cover, most of you actually know who I am, but a little bit more about who I am in terms of my business presentations and how I operate. I'd also like to speak through why people need coaching, mentoring or consulting, and I hope that by the end of the session you'll have a clearer idea of what I do exactly, including a thing that I've been working on developing, which I've called the Inman System, because that's my name, so why not? So I'd also like you to know how I can help you or your friends or associates. That's what we're here for, is to shed light on our expertise. And more importantly, it's as if David had been watching my PowerPoint last night, because a lot of the stuff I felt like he was stealing my thunder. But sometimes it's good to hear the same things from different people, because then the message sort of starts to filter through, doesn't it? So I'd like you to, if you have a pen and paper, to feel free to make some notes today, not just about what I say, but what you think as a result of what I say, what you can take away and implement in your own business. And it might just be one thing, but if that one thing can make a big difference, then that's exciting, isn't it? So, what do I do? Well, I like to work with people here. I like to do business stuff, but as you can see, I'm also a traveller. I like to, one of the passions that Joe and I share is getting around the world, experiencing new things, meeting new people. I like to look at it as what I do. When people say to me, what do you do? Steve?
That's a terrible drawing of the pyramid, by the way.
Yes, it is a terrible drawing. Yeah, I must do something about that. In fact, I'll have to go back there. Do it again. I help people to lead happier and more fulfilling lives and influence them to achieve their potential. So let that sink in for a moment. Helping people to achieve their potential. So my mission, my how, my why, is that by drawing on my experience as a coach, a mentor and an entrepreneur, I've started about 20 businesses. I haven't got it all right, I've made plenty of mistakes, believe me. But I've learned from those, I've learned as much from mistakes as I have from getting things right. And I use that to help business owners like yourselves and executives to define and implement the changes that they want to make in their business and their life. Change can be a scary thing, do you agree? No, you're all addicted to change, that's awesome. Good, so you can all change and start using Martin's water, that would be a good start. So you can lead a happier and more fulfilling lifestyle and filled with great experiences. If you have a goal, that goal that you saw there to go to the pyramids, I had that since I was 11 years old. And I kept a photograph of that pyramid, the first one, the Douglas pyramid, on my fridge, because there was a school trip that I didn't get to go on when I was 11, and I thought, I'm going there one day. So to actually be there and go inside that very pyramid was the most awe-inspiring thing for me. To see a lifetime goal come to fruition like that. The power of the law of attraction, of setting those goals, and having those ideas, and just believing that you can make it happen. And then, of course, there is that other one little ingredient. What's that, David? You can give up. That's one. Persistence. Anyone else? What is the key to making your goals come true?
Action.
Yes, taking action. It's easy. Anyone can sit there and write a list of goals. If you don't do anything about it, it's not going to happen, is it? So, why would you listen to me? Well, I've done a number of things. I've grown up in family tourism businesses right from an early age, so I was watching my parents, helping my parents to build small businesses, hotels, guest houses. Had no idea what I was going to do when I left school, so I ended up in retail management. I went for a job interview I didn't even really want, and then they offered me the job, and I went, oh, okay. Saw the pay, and I was washing hire cars at the time. I thought, oh, maybe I could be a manager, I'll work on that. 3 promotions with that company, came over to Australia, got Target to sponsor me into the country, had 3 promotions with them. Long story short, ended up at Big W, deputy store manager at Big W. Then for 14 years I owned my own tourism businesses, and that was a really exciting phase of setting up small businesses, just seeing what you can do, just testing the boundaries, having fun. Richard Branson talks a lot about the key to success in business is making it fun. Do you agree? If you can have fun in your business, it means you're doing something that you really love and you're passionate about. I got to take backpackers down to play beach volleyball and soccer matches and take them out nightclubbing and all sorts of stuff. I'm a little bit for the nightclubbing side of it now, I can't stand the hangovers, but I tried other things, added on businesses, car dealership. Our backpackers work. Dave talks a lot about niches today and looking at what other things you can explore within the market that you're already operating. I was in the backpacker market, but no one was looking after them as far as decent vehicles, keeping those vehicles on the road, and they're travelling huge distances to Darwin and around Australia and so on. So set up a workshop with a mechanic in it, did car dealership. Thought if I can't sell them a car, I'll hire them one, so I ended up adding on a hire car business. Today I've cut it back, it's really simple now. I've just got a cleaning business that I operate, which gives me all year round cash flow, so I can go away on these holidays and still have money coming in while I'm away. And coaching consulting work where I get to work with other people. The other thing is writing some books. I've left it up that other end there, Joe, from waving around afterwards. I think most of you have seen it by now actually. Trying to capture the essence of what you've learned along the way and then pass that on. What use is knowledge if it's not applied, if you don't share it with other people, if you don't pass on the baton so other people can keep running the race. So you can learn from my mistakes as well as my successes in that book. So, are you getting from your business or career the results that you want or deserve? This is a bit now where we're going to ask you a few questions and see. Yes, there's a few pensive faces around the table, which is good. You know, I've studied NLP. I'm not only a certified coach, but also a certified NLP trainer. NLP, does everyone know what NLP is? Anyone not know what NLP is? NLP is neuro-linguistic programming or patterning. So it's about the brain telling you to repeat patterns. Now some of those things are really useful, like learning to tie your shoelaces. Wouldn't it be awful if you had to relearn every day how to tie your shoelaces? Real pain in the neck, wouldn't it? So there's some of those things that are really useful. However, the same thing that allows you to do that also ingrains you into driving the same way to work every day, so you do it on autopilot. You ever had the experience of driving down the road, anyone, where you suddenly realise you were going somewhere different to where you normally go and the car's gone on its own somehow? Isn't that weird? So that's pattern behaviour, and you know what? You can challenge that by actually doing some little things like taking a different route, or we've been doing it, haven't we, going to our fitness training, cycling a different way. It's amazing, suddenly you open yourself up to seeing, oh, there's a new shop there, or there's a new business gone up I didn't know about, or that apartment block's for sale, whatever it might be. So, breaking those patterns and challenging yourself to move forwards is a way of implementing change. Now, so from an NLP perspective, I would say the fact that you're all sitting here this morning means there must be something in your business or your life that you're not getting at the moment, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Is that a fair conclusion? Now, so what we've got to do is figure out for you, what is that why? So you may be already working the business that you want and exploring your own passion of having fun, doing the things that you're passionate about. But there is that great danger in small business particularly of it overtaking you. Are you actually working to live? Is the dog wagging the tail or is the tail wagging the dog? Ever had that feeling when you go, I'd really like to take the evening off and go somewhere, but we've got these clients, we've got this business happening and things to do. Yeah, we've all had that. So designing your business around the life that you want is actually the reverse to what most people do. Most people work their business and whatever's left, they have their life with it. So here's another key question. Do you know what your values are? Have you actually thought about it? Because even if you have, are you living in alignment with those values? And if you haven't, you probably wouldn't know because you never thought about it. It's just a good time to think about it. What's important to you? What do you care about? if one of your biggest values is spending time with family, and you never do because you're always working, is that right? Are you going to feel conflicted? Is it going to affect your performance in different areas? It will. So, one of the points of difference that I have, I suppose, is that, well, I don't suppose, I know. You've got to watch your language. I know that one of the points of difference is that a lot of business coaches only deal with your business. I talk about your mindset, what's going on with you behind the business, because you drive the business. So it's important to have the skills and knowledge, but anyone can pick up skills and knowledge. You can go on a course, you can Google something, how do I do this? You don't need a business coach necessarily to do that. You probably need a business coach to help you actually implement it. But a lot of times it's about getting the concept right and making sure that that concept is in alignment with your values, that you're actually living the life that you want to live. David's favourite word, mindset. So I look at it as your mind, ideally, would be set on achieving your goals, on achieving the lifestyle that you want. How you get there is flexible. So you've got your flexibility coming there, David. You've got to be flexible. I actually have a policy of rigid flexibility. Think about that one for a moment. But despite that rigid flexibility, I know what I want to achieve and I go after it and I make it happen. So things like the pyramids, things like climbing Machu Picchu last year, taking a year off from yoga, a year off this. Looking ahead there, a month off. Getting there. See how it just clicks in. So in order to make change though, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable, because most of the changes step outside that thing we call comfort zone. That's that pattern behaviour we talked about, doing the things that are habitual and familiar. Einstein said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Something like that, very close to it. Thank you. Confirmation, there we go. Just make that up. So, do we do that? Do we repeat the same things and think, hey, I'll just keep doing the same thing, but things will get better? Or do you have to actually challenge that and go, is there anything else we can do differently? Have we tried this? Have we tried that? Have we spoken to more people? Have we got more feedback? As Steve likes to do, go and talk to plenty of other people and test your theories out. And so I'd like to tell you a little bit about an example, a case study, just one, just to give you a bit of a taste of the kind of thing, how do I actually put into effect what I talk about. Well, when I met Leroy Brown, he was a self-employed carpenter. He had been made redundant from his job as a manager at a bathroom company, bathroom renovations or something company. But he had a trade to fall back on. He'd been a carpenter from a young lad. He's got the half of one thumb missing or something to prove it. So, but he is a good carpenter. He learned from that mistake. And at the time I met him, I met his wife actually first at a business networking seminar, funnily enough. Same when I met David at. And she came back to me a while later and said, look, is there any chance you can come and talk to my husband? I think he's going through kind of a midlife crisis. He doesn't seem to be very happy and a bit worried about him. And what had happened was, yeah, he's a carpenter, he was good at what he did, but he had no clue how to run a business. So, and that happens to a lot of people. They might know a particular skill set, but don't keep the big picture in mind. So when I met up with him, he was at the point where he wouldn't even go to the school functions because he didn't want to mix with the other parents because he was embarrassed about talking to people. Imagine that for a moment. You're then 40, around about 40, 42, something like that. To not want to go to a school function in case you have to talk to the other parents. He was dyslexic, so that was obviously playing a major factor playing a major role in his lack of confidence. But also he was kind of lost. He didn't really know. He'd fallen into starting to work for himself, but he didn't really know where he was going or how he was going to get there. There was no brand. All the things David's talked about this morning in his really good presentation earlier. Your unique selling proposition. He didn't know who was his target market, what was he trying to achieve. There was no recording of anything. It was just like, is there enough work to get through the week? Just him, and his wife was worried. And so much so that she had to go back from part-time to full-time. They had 2 kids, had to prop up the family income. Things were getting a bit stressful. Now, what did I do with Leroy? Well, first of all, has anyone heard the song, the Leroy Brown song? Proud Dad Leroy Brown? Yeah, anyone not heard it? So, You remember how that song goes? Great, and you want to sing it for us?
No, I'll play it for you on Friday.
So Bad Leroy Brown, you know, the baddest man in the whole damn town. But well, everyone's going to remember that, and he's a very memorable guy. For those of you who met him, he's a tall Jamaican Londoner, and he's actually got a lot of character. He's a really charismatic guy when you get to know him, but he was keeping himself a secret. So we changed his marketing straight away. One of the things, obviously, if someone's struggling for money to start off with in the startup stage, is I want to add to the burden. I'm there to help them get on. Now, to make sure I get paid, I've got to get them some results. So we had to immediately start on his marketing and put into effect working on that new slogan. So we come up with Leroy Brown. Oh, actually, I'll just preface that with something else. I said to him, what are the two biggest things, or the biggest things that you think about yourself that you're doing that really stand out in your business? What are your unique selling points or points of difference, as David referred to earlier? And what we established was, he's a tradie and he turns up. Hey, there's a revelation. Anyone know any traders that actually turn up? On time, when they say they're going to. And if he's running 5 minutes late, he will phone you and he'll be there within 15 minutes, but he'll tell you that he's coming and he'll be there within 15 minutes, and he is. So, most of the time, 9 times out of 10, he will be there bang on the time, probably even earlier than he said that he was going to be there. That's a big thing these days, you agree?
Yeah.
The other thing is, anyone had the experience of a carpenter doing some work for you, leaving you a pile of sawdust, just as a little, like a cat litter on the floor, whatever sort of thing? Or the sparkies that leave you bits of wire everywhere. Leroy is meticulous about cleaning up after himself. Leaves the place tidier than when he got there. If you want someone to come and clean your house, so we looked at those things and we went, okay, Leroy Brown, the cleanest carpenter in the whole damn town. Now, that just became catchy. He absolutely loved it. We got him some uniforms, so he's got a t-shirt now, a polo shirt with that slogan on it. He had no marketing out there apart from the traditional little advert in the local paper, which brought in the odd 1 or 2 responses, but nothing very great. Again, we changed the marketing in that. We still kept that in there because that is a useful medium for local business people. But we got him a website. We set him up all his social media, Facebook page. One of the easy things with something like that is you can see the before and after work. You can see it looked a mess when he got there. You can see the amazing job he's done with the finished product when he's there. So we showcased that with photographs. We got him sign writing on his van, so he becomes a mobile billboard for his business. Isn't that amazing? We got him new business cards. We got him a sign that he put on the verge. He made it himself, very proud of it too. Put on the verge, outside where he was working. Guess what, the first week he had the sign put out, someone came up to him and said, I saw your sign outside, wondered if you could do a job for me. The first time that we had it, he just had his sign writing put on his van, somebody came up and said, I saw your van, I've seen one of your vans. That's another thing, I've seen one of your vans. People think because they see the van on 2 different places that you've got more than one van. And come up and asked him for work. So over the 2.5 years since working with him, there was new image, and now he's happy and confident to the point where he joined the SBN group, came along and stood there and gave great speeches about what he's doing and how he helps people. David gave the forum there for him at West Perth, and I was just blown away. I was just so satisfied to see him coming out of himself, achieving his potential. We got him up to the point where he had 4 weeks work booked up in advance. He had another guy that we eased him into the idea of employing somebody else, but doing a joint venture with another carpenter where they, one of them's busy, they help each other out on jobs. Now just recently he was taken on another full-time carpenter to work with him. So we're progressing towards the end goal of him being able to take holidays and still have some money coming in as the business goes on. Building a business that is a saleable asset that he can actually walk away from at some stage in the future and have an equivalent to superannuation payout by selling his business as an ongoing concern. He's got a clear brand, defined selling point there, and we gave him the offline and online marketing strategies to help him get it. Now the bottom line there's the results. The sales and profit are up 2.5 times what they were when I met him. So I can't guarantee I can do that for everybody, just to put a little disclaimer in there. But a lot of the time it's just having a helping hand, having someone who can challenge your thinking, who can question what you're doing, give you some new insights, perhaps some new concepts. and hold you accountable to following through and taking the action that you want. Good story. There is a testimonial left here. I won't get to that, I'm running out of time. But there are plenty more testimonials on my website and on my Facebook chat. Some of the work that I've done with people. I'm privileged to be working with a few people in the group here at the moment. Martin doing a joint venture with him that you're going to see coming very shortly, which is just going to, I believe it's going to take off. It's going to transform people's health and fitness in Perth. Rebecca, just going great guns, saleswoman of the year, honestly. If you want your property sold and you want something rented out, just blow you away. Alison, some of the work that she's doing at the moment will be phenomenal. It's going to impact on a lot of people's lives. Won't go into all the, I won't steal your thunder, you can talk about that one when it comes up. But some of the insurance opportunities that she's creating there are going to change the lives of a lot of people around the world, people with illnesses and disabilities and so on. Okay, and Steve, we're going to do some work, aren't we?
I hope so.
Yeah. So, what I've been working on is a system for change. I've been, over the last couple of years as I've been working with people, just like you guys, I go, hang on, you know, it's like the mechanic with a broken car. The coach has to go, hang on, am I doing what I'm telling my clients to be doing? So I'm having to not only coach people, then go back and go, hang on, what did I just do there? What did we just achieve together? And one of the biggest things is, you don't have to take that all in. What I want you to get across, what I want to get across to you there is that I have a system. I have thought it through. And one of the biggest challenges we have as businesses is that we're overwhelmed. There's too much stress, there's too many things we have to deal with, too many hats we have to wear at different times. But by breaking it down, compartmentalising it into business areas and life areas, we don't neglect things. You know, I neglected my health and fitness there, and as you heard from the testimony I gave around it, you know, this suit, I wouldn't have been able to get the buttons on this back in February. I watched a video of myself doing a presentation here in February last night. I was quite shocked. So change can be made. It does require action though. And so I have a system there that can help you put the heart and soul back into what you're doing. Make sure you're in alignment, you've got your values, and you put the plan into effect. I won't go into great detail on this, but I go through a number of stages with clients. I start off by exploring and finding out what it is that you need to achieve, and rejuvenating the energy and the passion for what you're doing, if that's missing in some way. We help develop the concept, like we did with Leroy, have a clear idea of where we're going with it. Action. Now, perspiration, why did I put that in there? Well, it does take a bit of hard work. It's like a rocket getting off the ground, uses most of its fuel in the early stages of just lifting it off. Once it gets into the outer atmosphere and so on, it can ease back. Even a jumbo jet uses most of its fuel getting off the ground, and then they cut back the engines as you're cruising. So it's the same with a small business. You know, it doesn't just go. It's an exponential growth. You have to put in the work for a while, and then suddenly you start seeing the results, and then if you keep going. That's the bit where most people quit. You notice that? They've done the hard work, they start getting things going, and they go, oh, this is too hard. Quit. Keep going, then you get the benefits of that work that you've been doing out there in the community. Consolidating, now putting in the quality standards, you know, making sure you've covered the risk with insurance and so on, making sure you've got health and safety and those things covered. Then amplifying it, so taking the brand to the next level, and then ultimately bring it to fruition and getting your business ready for sale. The funny thing is, we talk about that right back at the beginning. So you start with being smart. What do you want to do with this business? Where do you want to go? Now that might be a bit vague at first. You might think I'm going to do this forever. You probably won't. I had a background fossil I thought I was going to keep on doing forever, and the things come to an end. But that also then creates an opening for a new beginning and the next stage, next chapter. So why would you hire a coach? To get that clarity about your goals. To develop a winning mindset. Very important. When there are setbacks in business, and you need to know, you need to believe in what you're doing and where you're going to conquer those setbacks. And that's why it's so important to clearly define that right at the beginning and keep reminding yourself of it. You know, do a business plan. A lot of people don't do a business plan, but even if they do, they never look at it again. It should be updated regularly. It should be constantly reviewing. Where am I going? Am I on track? Am I going to get there? A coach can help you fine-tune communication skills. I've created scripts for people for sales and things like that. Sometimes people lack that knowledge in different areas, like Leroy Carpenter, but then he had a marketing business. I hold you accountable and I help you identify whatever the skills and knowledge you might need to go and get, go on a course or whatever and acquire that skill. And most importantly, what's the point of all that if you don't keep your life in balance? If you don't have health and fitness, you can make a load of money, but if you drop dead of a heart attack, what's the point? So that's why what I'm doing with Martin is going to be so important to get people back on track with their health and fitness. Because what happens is we get so focused on one area that meanwhile everything else is falling down around us. You know, I lost a, it's a good thing now, I lost a wife in terms of we broke up, not that she died and she went back to England. Kind of the same thing really. Because, you know, I wasn't really paying enough attention to the relationship. We were working fantastic teamwork together in the business. Meanwhile, we just suddenly didn't really know who we were. So it's important to keep that work-life balance. What next? How the ways that I work with people is either one-on-one business mentoring, coaching, consulting, presenting. The list is there. Connecting people. That brings other results in itself. Yeah? Okay, so if you want to know more, let's catch up for a coffee. That's what David recommends to everyone, and it does work, doesn't it? You know, I put up for a coffee with Rebecca, and sometimes it's about timing. But later, at the time we had the coffee together, she's like, I'm going to need your help, but not right now, but you know, in another few months' time. Sure enough, so a few months later, we did get together and start working together, and now we're getting great results. So, and I put in, notice Martin, I put in the green tea there because, well, that's probably Kangen water in the picture there, as you can see. So, any questions about any of that stuff?
Who's been your hardest client?
Thanks, good question. Who's been my hardest client? Confidentiality, obviously, can't name names. But what I would say is that the hardest clients to work with are ones who procrastinate and don't take action, because it's frustrating for me as a coach, because I can see we need to get you from here to there, and then they kind of resist you. And sometimes that resistance is about breaking that pattern behaviour that we talked about. It's about getting them to step outside their comfort zone and go and do something that they know they don't want to do. You know, classic in sales of people that they want to be a salesperson but they don't want to ring anyone. Or they don't want to return the phone calls. What if I get rejected? That kind of thing. You know? Or they might have a hang up about money or something like that. That's money's evil. You ever heard that one? Or why would you want me? Doesn't that kind of conflict with why you're being in business? Isn't that amazing? So some of those little things, yeah, so thanks for the question.
Okay, that was great.